Hi, and welcome to my 5th annual Stocking Stuffer gift guide. This is a guide of board games that cost roughly $20 and can fit in a stocking. This is my, as I said, 5th annual, so obviously I've done it 4 times prior, and there is a geek list in the link below that has a list of every game that's ever been on this list. So there's like almost 50 games on that, so tons and tons to choose from. Today I'm just going to go over 10 games, real quick, talk about them just a little bit, and if you're interested, check out that geek list so you can get more information. All right, let's get right into it. Up first is Deep Sea Adventure. This is a game by Oink Games. They're a Japanese board game company that all of their games come in very, very small, compact boxes. So really, any of their games are great stocking stuffers. This is one of my favorite of their games. It's a push your luck game where you're all deep sea divers diving for treasure, but you all collectively use the same oxygen. So you're trying to get deep to get the best treasure that's more valuable, deeper, but you have to be able to get back to the boat before you and everyone else uses up the oxygen. It's a game that really, describing it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but playing it, it just works so perfectly. I am a big fan of it, and I think it goes from 2 to 7 players, so it fits a pretty wide player count. So yeah, definitely like this one. Up next is Herbaceous. This is a game that is about planting herbs, and it's got incredibly beautiful artwork by Beth Sobel. This is a very relaxed, kind of peaceful game. It's really good for non-gamers or people that don't like a ton of conflict in their games, or people that just like pretty stuff that's kind of peaceful to do. It couldn't be simpler. On your turn, you're going to draw a card, pick whether you put it in your tableau or put it in the center, then you draw another card and put it wherever you didn't put the previous card, basically. So you'll put one card in the tableau, one card in the center of the table, and then as an action you can plant, which means you can take any of your cards and any of the cards from the center of the table and plant them. There are different scoring conditions where you want like all of the same card or different cards or pairs of cards, but it's super easy to teach, really pretty, definitely a nice thing to kind of bust out with people that don't play a lot of board games and maybe don't like a lot of conflict. Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama. This is a reimplementation of a game that came out a couple years ago called Avenue, and in this, it's a roll and write game. It's one of my favorite roll and write games, even though it's not really, you don't roll dice. Roll and write games, generally you roll dice, and then you have a pad of paper or a whiteboard, and you like write stuff on it. This one, you draw cards instead of rolling dice. But basically, you're just trying to create connected pathways that connect resources to certain scoring mechanics and stuff. It's very simple, but kind of brain-burning and crunchy, and a little bit of push your luck where it's like the cards have like, you know, like a left turn that you draw on your board, and it's like, do I put this here even though I haven't connected it yet, or do I do the safe bet and make sure I connect it? It's great. I like it a whole lot. Up next is Cockroach Poker. This game is great for people that like bluffing, people that like poker, things like that. This game gets rid of all of the game of poker, basically, and you only have the bluffing, where you've got different cards. You don't want to collect, I think, 3 of the same kind. I don't remember exactly. But you're trying to obviously get other people to collect 3 of the same kind. And so you just secretly give them a card and you tell them what it is, and you can bluff or be telling the truth, and then they have the option to take it or not. It's really good, and it's just the fun of bluffing your friends. It's very quick, very easy to learn. So yeah, definitely check that one out. Up next is And Then We Held Hands. This is a game where you are a couple that has had a fight and you are trying to reach a point of mutual understanding. It's definitely an interesting game to give to people that are maybe artsier or kind of into like weirder, not weird, but just like different, unique themes in games and stuff, that they don't just want dragons and soldiers and whatever. It's really interesting because with not a lot of communication, you're trying to kind of intuit what somebody else is doing, so that you can make the best move to cooperatively get to this point of mutual understanding. So you do kind of feel like that argument thing where you're trying to like understand a person and they'll make a move and you can't understand why they would have done that because clearly this was the best move type thing. So it's really interesting and just kind of different. So it's an interesting game to give to somebody that might be into stuff like that. Codenames Duet is a 2-player implementation of the very popular game that came out a couple years ago, Codenames. In it, you've basically got 25 cards, and you're trying to get your partner to guess certain cards, but not guess other cards. And they are doing the same for you. If you played Codenames and you like 2-player games, this is obviously a great game for you. If you're not familiar with Codenames, it's a brilliant game where basically, so as I said, you have like 25 words in front of you and then you can give a 1-word clue with a number, and you're trying to get them to guess the words that relate to that clue. So you could say ball 3, and let's say that there's soccer and tennis and Cinderella, and you're trying to get them to connect, like, okay, a soccer ball, a tennis ball, and Cinderella went to a ball. But there are words then that they can't guess, and you don't want them to guess. So then that gets really complicated if there's also, you know, the word foot, and you don't want them to guess that because they might connect football. So it's really interesting, really great. The 2-player implementation in Codenames Duet is also awesome. Up next is Fuji Flush. This is a game that is one of the rare games that works better with more people. I think it plays up to 7, and I really wouldn't recommend playing it with under 4, and really 5 is a good spot. It's a trick-taking game that's going to be very familiar to anybody that's played Spades or any of the other thousands of trick-taking games, but it's really weird where all you have to do to take the trick is you have to play the highest number card, which isn't a game, because then whoever had the highest number card would always take it. And you're trying to get rid of your cards. If it gets back around to you, you discard that card. But let's say I played an 8. If the person to my left plays a 5, that's fine. If the person to their left also plays a 5, those numbers add together because they're the exact same, and their collective 10 beats my 8. So you're trying to work with the people around the table to, like, make your small cards worth more because you want to hold on to your big cards to, like, collectively take out a big card, which is why it works better with more people. It's really interesting. I like the game a lot. Up next is A Fake Artist Goes to New York. This is another Oink game, like Deep Sea Adventure. And this one is fits a lot of people as well, 10, 12 people maybe. And in it, basically, everyone is artists in New York, and there is a fake artist amongst you. Everybody's going to get dealt the same card that's going to say a word, so like pizza. So everybody will have a word that says pizza, or a card that says pizza, except for the fake artist, who will have a card that just has an X on it, and they won't know what they're trying to draw. Then collectively, on one piece of paper, everybody draws, takes turns drawing just one line. It can be a squiggle or a circle or whatever. You just can't pick up your pen. And you're trying to show everybody at the table that you're not the fake artist. You know that the word's pizza. But you can't just draw pizza, because then the fake artist will know that the word's pizza, and they'll know what to draw, and they win the game if they can guess what it is. So it's this really weird thing where you have to make, like, it clear that you're drawing pizza, but not so clear that anyone that didn't know it was pizza would understand that it's pizza. It's really fun. It's a great party game. It's very unique and weird, so highly recommend that one. Up next is Mini Park. This is a game that came out this year, and it is a tile-laying game, a lot like Carcassonne or any of those, and you have hex tiles, and you're collectively building a park. The artwork's really lovely. It's very well done and very pleasant, and it's a very simple game where you have a couple different kinds of tiles, and they score in different ways based on how you place them, and then there are these characters that are nice wooden meeples that you place on the board that will score you in different ways as well. The characters have 2 different ways that they can score. They have a simple way, which is great if you're playing with kids, and then they have a more complex way, which adds a little bit more depth if you're playing with adults or older kids. So it's nice that it kind of adds a little bit of variety there. It's a very simple game, but very nice. And the last game on the list is Plums. This is a trick-taking game, so this is a great game to get if your family loves spades, or if they love trick-taking games but aren't really into board games or anything, you know, not using just a deck of cards, a deck of traditional cards, because this will be very familiar to them. They'll immediately know how to play it, and that's a big hurdle in getting new people to play board games, is oftentimes it's intimidating to learn rules. This one, they'll understand exactly how it works, but there's a couple different ways that this kind of adjusts how scoring works, and it has a couple new ideas for trick-taking games that'll feel new and fresh and hopefully like exciting for them, because it's just a new take on an old classic, basically. So yeah, really great game. Highly recommend it. All right, I hope this list was helpful to you and you got some ideas for gifts for you or for your friends and family. Also, check out the Geek List or other year's videos for a whole bunch of other games if you want even more ideas. If this was helpful to you, subscribe to this channel. I do weekly board game news and some other content. On that, I've been incredibly busy the past 2 months. It's been really crazy between conventions and personal stuff going on, so I have completely slacked on the board game news, and I'm sorry for that. I'm off for the rest of December because I'm traveling and doing all sorts of family holiday stuff, but I will be back in January, back with the weekly board game news, and I'm also going to have some new content that I haven't done before that I'm pretty excited about. So definitely subscribe or follow me on social media. I'm at Bryan Games on Instagram and Twitter if you want to keep up with that and see some of that new stuff. I hope you have a great holidays. I hope you play a bunch of games. I hope you get to spend times with friends and family and all that good stuff, and I will see you next year.